Only I caught the scratchies? You must have cheated. On me. Stay till the end and find out why. This episode is emotionally disturbing to cheaters.
Myself, 30-year-old male, met my soon-to-be ex-wife, 25 female. At a call center we both started working for at the same time. We'll call her Taylor, to keep our real identities safe. On our first day she was 20 minutes late, and came in carrying, what I could only assume to be most of her world at the time, with her. When I saw her I instantly knew I would marry this woman. She was gorgeous, sweet, round in all the right places, and we had much in common from music taste to all sorts of interest. Like books, movies, and even games we enjoyed together. Our intimate life was flaming, passionate, and exploratory. I truly believed in this woman being my one. Fast forward 6 years, and we're married with one child. We'll call him Jimmy. Jimmy brought us very close, and we had both had issues in our personal lives, missing things we enjoyed doing. I myself would stay employed, and constantly look for better opportunities to keep a roof over our heads, food in our bellies, and clothes on our backs. Taylor did not work for the first 3 years of our marriage, and we struggled. We were evicted from 2 homes. One because we shared an apartment with her sister, and she spent all of the rent money, 3 months in a row. We were young, foolish, and trusted the wrong family member. During the second, she had started working for a short while. Enough for us to find a place, and get out of my parents' place, who were more than gracious to let us move in, until I could get us back on our feet. Even though my wife wouldn't lift a finger to help cook, clean, or pay any of the bills until this point. When we got into the new place, she quit immediately, without telling me beforehand. Thinking I would just get a third job, to go with my already second. Well, thing is, I already had a third job too. I was doing food delivery freelance as a duo with my father, and we would spend whole weeknights and weekends practically working. A third job. It was too late. However, I couldn't keep up with the bills, and we had to leave again. I spoke to my brother about my frustrations and situation, and wanted advice from him. My brother works as a welder for a large company, and had his finances always on point. He knew I wasn't the same. But he also knew I would always make sure I had enough when we absolutely needed it, even if it meant I had to work 20 hours a day to get it. My brother talked it over with his wife, and then suggested the following. We would move in with them and take up one room, keep doing our best to save up for our own place, while he and his wife take their newborn baby to sleep in their room, in a bedside baby bed. Also, I get a job as a forklift driver in the company where my brother works, and start making good money. My wife at the time gets a similar job, but with a different company. But within the first month she didn't receive any paychecks, but as I remember, she's still gone all day, as though she's at work. The virus is first hitting the US at this time, and tests are in short supply. She tells us she believes she has it, but cannot get a test to confirm it. We have to isolate for 2 whole weeks. Both my family, including my brothers, didn't receive any pay during this time. We each lost up to 30 hours of overtime on top of our regular 40 hours. It hits hard. Come to find out why she wasn't receiving any paychecks. Apparently she had gotten fired for not showing up at her job. I shared this with my brother, and he confronts me that this was against what we agreed upon when he first extended help to us. If either of us quit trying, or lost our jobs, we would be out. I agreed to that, as I thought this would be a no-brainer, and driving force to help my wife join the workforce, and learn that it is normal to have to work like anyone else. I understood my brother, as he had put a strain on his wife and baby, while trying to help us out. So here's the thing. My wife wasn't to be trusted with actually doing any work, and supporting us financially. But bills had to be paid, so I had to make a drastic decision. I had never had to kick somebody out of a home before, and certainly never the mother of my future child or a romantic partner. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever made, in what I believed was for the betterment of my family. I told her that she broke the agreement and had to leave my brother's place. She was about 5 weeks pregnant at this time, and my plan was to convince her to stay with her parents, so I could keep working and save up enough money to get us a modular home, while she takes care of herself. I didn't tell her this but thought, at least her parents would cover her needs for a while I get the breathing room and steady focus to get this done. She agreed reluctantly. I could tell she was hurt, but she put me in this position where I felt no other choice would achieve our goals, or even stability for our family, and all I wanted was to give her the life I believed she deserved at the time. I know it's on me. This was my mistake. Looking back, I truly believe she used this to justify her further actions. Months went by, and I had been saving a good chunk at this point, and my higher paying wage and work ethic was really paying off. To prevent my wife from being irresponsible with the finances again, my brother and I had an arrangement. It went as follows. Half of the rent I paid to him, an extremely fair market amount for a single room place, and the funds went into an envelope. He would keep it for me, but give it back when I was ready to move out. After 7 months of saving, I estimated I should have just over $6,500. I begin the process of searching for a modular home for rent, or even rent to own. Find one. Show her. It's perfect. Everything we need for the time to welcome our bundle of joy into the world. This brings us to when things truly began to derail. Unbeknownst to me, I had sacrificed so much for this love I so passionately fed, provided for, cherished, worshipped, and desired. I had finally reached a point in my life where I was now going to be a father. My dreams of having a family, and being a present, honest, and educational parent, and just husband, were beginning to be realized. What I didn't know is that my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, didn't know about the arrangement. She knew about the envelope, which seemingly kept growing with money, and she thought all of the money was theirs, as she proceeded to buy every single Jeffree Star makeup palette released within the year, before effectively using all but $220 of the whole $6,500. I was furious, enraged, upset, and deeply embarrassed. Once again I had learned I had trusted the wrong person, and with this omen that flew right over my head, I did not see what was happening. Fast forward 2.5 years. We live with my parents again. Jimmy is born, turning 3 that summer. It is the beginning of the year. My wife asks me to take her to the ER, for what she thinks is a really bad yeast infection. No. It was chlamydia. I walk into my home after a 12-hour shift the next morning, not having heard the results yet, to be verbally attacked, humiliated and berated by both her and my own mother, accusing me of cheating. This is the part I will state this. I have never went outside the boundaries of my marriage, or entertained the attention of another in any way, as I was head over heels for this woman, who I believe to be so perfect. I will admit that I am not perfect. There were times my words were sharper than intended. I'm a very straightforward guy, and I have the tendency to come across as being too blunt. She struggled with this sometimes, as she has many unresolved traumas from growing up in the foster system. My attitude could have been better sometimes, and I needed more time to learn patience. I know I am not without fault. I take accountability for my shortcomings as a husband and father. I can reflect on those moments and honestly tried to grow from them every time. With that said, the beratement began with my mother telling me I had royally fricked up now, to which my wife started walking towards me and screaming the phrase,
Who is she? Who is your
I was completely blindsided. Never would I have imagined, of all things, the clap would have come knocking at my doorstep, to my own home. My total dumbfounded reaction only seemed to fuel their allegations. She immediately pressed us to go get tested. I agreed, knowing I hadn't done anything. It came to me. I now had the absolute confirmation. She had stepped out on me. She must have cheated at some point, but when or with who, I did not know. Some things automatically started adding up. I thought back to a moment a few months before our anniversary, and I had asked if she would like to get dolled up and go out to dinner. Maybe go for a move drive, or long walk together. I remember she looked me dead in the eyes, and with the ice-cold tone I have ever heard in a woman's voice she said,
I will never get dolled up, because you want me to.
I had noticed her makeup was being used up, but I couldn't recall her wearing any, and she was, always, needing more. Oh, how naively blind, and stupid I am. Once we arrived at a local instant care center, we quickly explained what was going on, filled out a questionnaire, and just sat there, tensely waiting. My wife requested a separate, and female physician. This hurt differently, like the dagger was already in my back, but now she's twisting it. It hurt extra, knowing that she was really going to pull out all the stops to frame me this way, and not simply giving up on this charade, and peacefully talk like married adults, who have a child together. My physician came in, inspected me, told me I showed no signs, but that a dirty cat's urine samples are the best, and most effective tests. So we'll check the results, when they are in. After this they had me join my wife in her room, with her female physician and nurse. Both her, and the nurse glared at me the entire time, as my wife uncontrollably sobbed, turning the waterworks on so bad she broke out in hives. I had never seen her this way before. I was terrified. I had sacrificed so much in my life, all for trying to keep kindling to the bonfire, that would eventually burn this forsaken and murdered passion, all to the ground. Both the physician and nurse spoke to me in accusatory tones the entire visit, saying things to her like, "Don't worry. Soon enough you'll be able to get past this." With proof. Well, the proof shocked them. 2 years leading up to this, my wife had been rejecting most of my advances for intimacy, chalking it up to postpartum, which I was completely understanding of. I would try to initiate, but not too much, as I didn't want her to feel disrespected. I just wanted to love her the way I knew best, and reconnect a bond that had been patiently waiting to be reignited. The next day comes with the results. She calls me during my lunch break. I'm negative. She's also negative. Strange. I tell her we're going back together after I get home from work, to get a physical copy, so we can possibly look into what may have went wrong with the hospital's test, and even if correct, we could find out if something serious may still be wrong with her intimate areas. She disregarded it, and said it wasn't necessary. We had what we needed, and we were past it. I pressed again, and emphasized that I wanted this to happen, so I expected her to get ready. Then, she lost it, screaming at me over the phone saying,
I'm positive. There. You heard what you wanted. Are you happy now?
Oh my God!
I was dumbstruck. She had tried to lie to me, and hide the fact that she was still positive. I immediately requested 2 more tests over a month, and a prescription for both of us to take care of this, and prevent any more harm. By this time, she realized her game is up. She sees a drastically changed me, she didn't saw before. I tell her she has 1 day to move out, don't care where, move into her mom's place for all I care. That I'll take Jimmy 3 days a week. I couldn't do more, as my job had me up at 4 a.m. and I wouldn't get home until 5 p.m. at least. When I'm not having him overnight, I'll be calling to talk to him on the phone. See if I could take him for lunch, or take him out the whole day, so she can be free. We agreed on this for 1 month, to see how it would turn out. Till this point, she ignored the topic, and has not admitted to anything, no matter how hard I pressed her. We went to a joint appointment for talking over the tests and making sure there are no other parasitical diseases at play. During that appointment, her gynecologist came in. My wife was begging, pleading desperately for an answer to how this could have happened in a monogamous marriage. The looks of dread in the eyes of the staff when they looked at me. Zero judgment towards me, seeing the pure embarrassment they felt for me. It broke me. Still she clings to the lie that nothing happened, and she just, magically, contracted the disease. We go home, and I suggest couple therapy, as we have to go make something work for our child, and I secretly hope it may get her to open up. I want the truth. I thought, Maybe she is worried that I might lose it when she confesses and do something horrible. This train of thought hurt deeper than any other part of this whole ordeal, but made sense to me at that time. I'd never been a violent man. Never laid a finger on her. Not even in a playful way that could be misinterpreted. And she didn't come right out with it and say it. I thought and assumed it was logical at the time. Our therapy session comes around. She cancels day 1. We reschedule. She cancels again. This process repeats 3 times before I decided it was time to cut my losses. In 6 months' time, if I cannot get it out of her, I will kick her out officially. I confided in the only friend I have, who happens to be female. She is nothing more than a friend to me. My best friend passed that same year, and this girl is the mother of his children. We were all very good friends, so I would ask her for her female perspective from time to time. Hills my wife would choose to die on that I didn't understand in arguments, or little mannerisms I wanted to be able to communicate effectively through, so I could try to be empathetic, and not narrow-minded. My wife went through my phone one night, and found our conversation. She blew up at me, saying I was cheating. Again. And she knew she couldn't trust me. I told her then she had one last chance to admit what had happened to me, or we were done for good, as all the evidence irrevocably supports my claim of innocence in all of this. Innocence of infidelity, that is. Not of being vulnerable, or weakened of heart through this painful experience. Later that night she asks me to pick her up from work. She is ready to tell me something, and tells me to get ready for it. When I'm there, she said that when she moved into her mom and dad's, after my brother made me kick her out of the house, she went to a friend's place, and when she wanted to leave, that friend wouldn't take no for an answer. It went so far that he did it anyway, if you know what I mean. Please, keep in mind, I do not victim blame, shame, or try to discredit anyone who has claims of something like this happening to them. But with this woman, things just didn't add up. This would have taken place a few months before my son was born. In my state, when babies are born, both mom and the baby must take an STI test, as well as mom during OB visits up to birth, and while symptoms can lay dormant, my physician explained it would show up regardless. Mom and baby were both clean at birth. No chlamydia, which means she lied to me again. I was devastated at this realization, that still she wanted to hide the truth. I still don't know for sure everything that truthfully happened, and for a while I was completely broken by this. How was I not worthy? Was it not enough after all the sacrifices I had made? Was I not in the least bit deserving of the love I had poured out in return? How could it have come to this? I felt empty. Hollow. Like a milkweed whose seeds had been caught by the wind and blown away. Months later it was revealed to me. She finally confessed. She just wanted me because I would commit. Give her a child, which is all she wanted me for, and then be with whatever men she desired, knowing I would be a good father in the meantime. She used me for what many men believe to be the most sacred purpose in life. I love my son, but sometimes it hurts to know he was a token for her to gain, while keeping me aside to use. Only to then cast me aside like dirt, when my usefulness to her ended. At this point, Jimmy is my top priority. I work 14-hour days to provide as a single father, working 2 jobs. All my money issues are solved and I've paid off all of my debts aside from a couple I'm actively working on. Initially when we separated, I wanted revenge. Being with another woman, just to make her feel what I felt. I installed Tinder to go for it, and after going for multiple attempts, and the beginning conversations, I realized this is not who I am. I am not a fling kind of person. To me, intimacy is a bond-building sacred moment, for lovers to share, no matter how vanilla or explorative. There was this one woman that made me feel bad about my wrong intentions. I quickly realized that one of these ladies had been really engaging in our conversations. She told me she'd like to continue our talks, get to know each other better and maybe meet up. This came as a surprise to me. Thoughts rushed through my mind of our conversations the last few weeks, and I realized that I didn't want to hurt anybody by rushing into something blindly, with nothing but revenge on my mind. which would only make me as low as my cheating ex. I could tell this was another kind of woman, and I wanted to try and get to know her. I admit, I ghosted her out of fright. I started working out, going to therapy alone. After 6 months, I decided to reach back out to her. I got lucky and scored. She was sad I stopped talking to her, but after explaining myself, she was exponentially understanding, as she was going through something similar and in some ways worse, although she was almost 3 years along fighting for a divorce. We'll call her Ruby. She is sweet, appreciative and socially amazing. A little more plump in the right places. I am not really a very superficial person, but that's also nice. I care for personality though, and willingness to show real gratitude and respect. This girl is everything my ex is not. Giving, soft-hearted, understanding, ambitious, and an extremely hard worker as she has 3 jobs to put her through school. We've been dating for 7 months now. She's met my son. Things are finally working out, but only time will tell. This time I'll be more careful. Taylor. If you see this, I hope you truly understand what you have done to me. The pieces of me I have cut away and said goodbye to, that will never exist within me again. The man I was in the mirror is gone and buried. But I survived what you put me through.
Royal A.I.
This is the first time I've read something and honestly believe it is true. The rambling, fast texting mistakes, I think this one is a very rare, truthful one. That being said, I am glad for you that you got out of that bad relationship. I am concerned about your dependency issues though.
Thank you. It's something my therapist and I have been working through.
That's awesome. I wish only better things for you, OP. Shitty relationships like this can cause serious trust issues and a real negative view on relationships. I am really glad you're handling it like you are. I'm confident you will be happy again.
Thank you for your kind words. You don't know their magnitude.
My God, I read it all, and I have to say, you are one hell of a man. I don't know how you could go through all that and yet still be strong enough to go through life. I really wish you all the best in life going forwards. I just wish I had a fraction of your resilience. You are truly a strong, responsible, and respectable man.
Got lost in all the reading. Did you ever find out how and when she cheated? One time or many times? How come you missed it for so long? How do you know the child is yours?
No. She still hasn't confessed to names, times, places, etc. At this point, I no longer care. I know it will be of horrific proportions, and not your typical cheater. I mostly wrote this out so I could give myself some closure, and maybe let others know they are not alone in their misfortunes. DNA test came back. He's mine. She was actually quite taken back when I had brought it up. Not maliciously either, just in conversation. She was appalled at the idea, like I'd have any reason not to trust her or something. Well, it was an easy thing to miss. I had never really been given a reason not to trust her in that regard, so I was very surprised. Not that there weren't some signs that made me wonder. It's just hard to investigate when you're the only income, can't take time off because of doubts, and can't afford a PI or something because of it, while my kid is the top priority. It's actually crazy how drastically my financial situation changed, just from cutting her loose. I overpaid child support, and insured him, as we haven't officially filed quite yet. I have to save up the cash, but overpaying should make it easier for me in the long run, when we do actually file, as I pay more than the state calculator says I should. I've tried to be smart and do everything with a clear mind. I have way more money just from her leaving, and not buying crap I didn't need. It's weird that one thing can change something so drastically.
Sorry you had to go through so much. I'm wondering, has your mother apologized to you? Has she tried to get an actual apology from X for what she did to her? Between what she did to you with your own mother and the doctor's office, that's some really horrible relationship-ending behavior. I'd love to ask how she thought her being positive and you being negative was ever going to work? If she's so cold to go for a full disassociation from you, that she was just using you for a child and done, I don't know that I'd believe her. That's psycho. With everything you've described, if she really is that far gone, that's sociopathic. Otherwise, she's covering her self-image and choosing once again to hide, instead of facing what she's actually done. I'd make sure her family and friends know through social media what she's done, with receipts and all the proof. Not to harm her, but to warn any future partners what kind of danger they're heading towards. It's a rough one, and I'm glad you made it to the other side. Good luck healing.
Yes, I exposed her by showing the test results. I had taken photos before she left just in case. Her mom didn't believe what I told her initially, so I sent her dad the year results. My mom did apologize to me, but it was really weak. Like a disrespectful half apology. Still haven't spoken to her after that.
I really don't understand how people can miss so many red flags and then be surprised when they're cheated on. Why is it the cheating that breaks it for them? Was it not a concern when she was seemingly homeless when you first met her, or when she refused to work for 3 years? What about her refusal to get a job after not 1, but 2 evictions? Or her refusal to help with cooking, cleaning, or paying any bills at your parents' house? Was it not a problem when she quit her job without telling you, forcing you to get a 3rd job? What about when she stopped receiving checks after a month despite her poor employment history? Or the issues with the virus test. Was it not a red flag when she got kicked out, again? Or when she was irresponsible with finances, leading to problems with your sister-in-law? What about when she lied to your mother about you cheating and giving her the parasitical scratches? No. Then the 2 years of a dead bedroom might do it? Or her lying to you again about the tests? Or her refusal to go to therapy? Dude, there's more. I'm too tired to list the rest. Wake up! I have zero sympathy for you. There's treating your wife well, then there's being a lovesick doormat. Quit whining and overcomplicating your life. Grow a spine.
I posted this to come to terms with myself. Close this chapter of my life. Most importantly, however, to leave an example. So that somebody else might get the courage they desperately need to make change happen in their life for the better. Regardless of what your thoughts or opinions are. You obviously didn't read any of the comments. As I have revealed, I was in fact playing the long game. To hurt her more in the end.
Well, congratulations. You've succeeded with me, at the very least. You've made it agonizingly clear that the consequences of being an invertebrate. I will now continue not to be a spineless loser. I thank you for your noble sacrifice. Hurting her more? Are you familiar with the phrase, cutting off your nose, to spite your face, so to hurt someone who clearly never gave a damn? You gave up your mental and financial well-being, as well as your self-respect and the respect of your friends and family. Good. I hope that it was worth it. As a side note, you're a father. Your number one priority is to ensure he grows up in an environment where they're happy, healthy, and loved. Children imitate their parents' relationships in adulthood. You acted like a simpy doormat to get some petty revenge on his mother. Is this really the kind of man you want your son to become?
Royal AI.
What would you advise OP? Let us know in the comments. Don't like, don't subscribe. Only if you really like to be part of this community. And if you have a story you're willing to share, email it to contactroyalai@gmail.com. As many of you already know, I'm not a real AI. And this production is actually done by me, myself. So it really helps when you share the best stories with me. Before I go, I would like to express my gratitude to you, the loyal viewers. Thank you, the loyal ones. Oh, and if you're triggered by the stories on this channel,
we do not care.
See you in the next one.